Hey kids, where do you want to go?
Uncle!
To Kyrie's Fun Football Show! And boy oh boy are we gonna have big fun today! We're gonna talk about a team that signed a running back named Chris Johnson. They had an injured running back named David Johnson. They always look like they're gonna do good, and then they lose all their players, and then they fuck up at the end of the season. I hope you enjoy it!
That was epic. Oh boy. Anyways, we got a lot of cool stuff to look back on, and a lot of cool stuff. I'm sorry, this is a good intro. A lot of cool stuff to look forward to. So I want to get started this week by taking a look back at the Kansas City game. What were your impressions, Lutz?
I'm happy that exactly what I thought would happen. Carson came out, looked amazing. I expected him to. I expected some downfield plays, some pass plays. That's exactly what we got for the most part. And then the second teams and third teams came out and looked pretty flat. And I think we kind of expected that too, because there are some questions we're having about depth. So that's kind of the general take I got from it.
I was pretty disappointed in Drew Stanton.
Yeah, well, I'm always disappointed in Drew Stanton. He is not, I don't look at Drew Stanton like a guy that I want to ever be taking the field. When Drew Stanton is taking the field, our season is lost. That's how I look at it.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, if he's starting a game, our season's lost. If he's coming in the fourth quarter and we're up because Carson went down, I mean, sure, maybe he can manage us out of that one. But yeah, I don't think about Drew in terms of his play. The moment he's out there and I even have to think about it, the season's over, in my opinion.
But, and I feel like I'm the only one who feels this way, but a lot of people had good things to say about Logan Thomas. He was 9 of 15 for 107 yards through one pick, of course, but...
Yeah. With some of the, he went to Jerron Brown. I'm sorry, go on. He
overthrew guys... a lot. I mean, I know you expect that out of him, but, he did. Everyone's saying, oh, he looked improved. I guess he looked improved.
Yeah.
He wasn't god-awful. He was bad, but he wasn't, pukishly bad.
But, I mean, isn't that what his threshold is for him to look better, it's just not pukishly bad, right? So... That's not really what we're going for with the kind of offense that we have. Although it is kind of nice to see that we have what some people call a stacked backfield on the offense right now. Because we almost could maybe get away with having more of a game manager quarterback, but let's just avoid all that.
No, yeah, absolutely. On the defensive side of the ball, I thought Marcus Golden looked freaking fantastic. I know he was up against second and third teamers, but I don't know, man. Marcus Golden was getting in there and making an impact, and it wasn't that he had a bunch of tackles or anything. I don't know exactly how many tackles he had. Maybe 2 or something. But the point is that he kept being there, when things were happening. At least it seemed like that.
Yeah, that's exactly why we drafted that guy. He isn't necessarily the Leo type of pass rusher or anything, but he is so consistent and he has such a hard work ethic that he's always out there pushing towards the ball. So that was what happened in that game was you see him applying a lot of pressure. I mean, he doesn't get home really, he didn't get on the quarterback, but he definitely was pushing pressure on some of those plays. And, we did end up with a couple picks that game. So you know
who did get onto the quarterback was Gunter freaking hit Daniels. I believe it was Daniels, the Kansas City backup, for a safety. Yeah. Which is all. I mean, you don't see enough of those in the NFL. So,
yeah, that's great. That was great. That was really nice to see because we jumped up, I think, in the fourth round to grab that guy. And so, I was curious because, I didn't hear much about him, and a lot of other people weren't quite sure because there wasn't a lot of buzz about Rodney. Why did the Cardinals make a move to pick this guy up? So then seeing him make a big play like that was really nice, and everybody's really excited about him too. So who knows, man? Maybe he's going to be on our 53. Maybe he's even going to be a starter. We'll see.
I bet Gunter makes the final 53. I don't know if he's gonna take anybody's job just yet, but I wouldn't be surprised if a season or two down the road he becomes somewhat premier in our organization. Jackson Shipley, Cardinals wide receiver, I heard an interview with him, and he sounds like he's about 14 years old, but he plays like a freaking man, dude. He was out there. He was doing kick returns, and he did pretty well. But he also was playing wide receiver, and as I recall, he had a pretty good catch at wide receiver too. I only remember one.
Yeah. He was pretty much the receiving highlight of the second half for the Cardinals, which is interesting because it's like at our skill positions, we're stacked. It's like we're talking about this guy making plays, but are we really concerned about another wide receiver emerging on our roster right now? So it's kind of a good position to be in. And it's actually a little different than what we've been used to the last couple seasons in terms of hoping we can maybe pull some things on defense right now.
So the big story as of a couple of days ago was the Bobby Massey story. There was a bunch of weird details that emerged, including him being at a 0.15 blood alcohol content, which is drunker than I've ever been.
When they found him.
When they found him, yes. And apparently, according to the police report, he was so disoriented that he thought he was in Virginia, and the police officer had to remind him that you're in Arizona. Now, again, I don't think that a drunk person would ever actually believe they were in a different state. I think that he might have just been messing around or something, but he was so drunk he didn't get why he shouldn't.
And you told me, according to the police report, he had admitted to being a daily heavy drinker too. So,
according to the police report, he said every day for the last 10 years. Now, I'm sure that's an exaggeration. I'm sure it wasn't literally every single day. But
the only reason I bring that up, though, is it suggests he would have an alcohol tolerance and is even less likely to think he's in Virginia at a 0.15.
Right. Okay. So that's Bobby Massey. I feel pretty comfortable about the right tackle position. Bradley Sowell's been taking the snaps at the first teamers. It looks like he's going to start next week.
Yeah.
We'll talk about next week towards the end. But it looks like Bradley Sowell's going to be the guy for now. We still have DJ Humphries, who apparently got himself a nickname. He was kind of sluggish early on, and apparently he's really motivated to do well now. And a reporter asked Bruce Arians, I wish I had the sound here so I could play it for you, but a reporter asked Bruce Arians what it took to get DJ Humphries motivated, and Bruce Arians replied, a knee in his ass, because a foot wasn't going to do it. That's why we nicknamed him Knee Deep. Which is
so beautiful. So beautiful.
That's such a Bruce Arians thing to say. Could you ever imagine Bill Belichick or Pete Carroll or anybody ever saying that?
That's why those guys aren't Coach of the Year, though. Hey-oh! Just drop the hammer.
So, the other huge news over the weekend is the addition of Chris Johnson to the Cardinals roster. But bigger than the fact that they signed Johnson, did you hear the contract details yet?
Yes, I sure did. He signed the veteran minimum for a one-year contract, and he can get a $2 million. The contract can be worth $2 million if he makes the Pro Bowl and returns to
1,300 yards. 13.
So basically, he has to be one of the top running backs in the league.
Yes, yeah, but the only guaranteed money is $400,000. When was the last time you ever heard anyone making news for signing a $400,000 NFL contract? It's unheard of.
I mean, he's a huge star, and the idea was he wasn't really going to. Well, I wouldn't say huge star, but he was a very promising star, and I think the idea was that he wasn't going to play in the NFL really anymore, and so to get signed on a team that looks to be built for a championship run, then they pick up this. I mean, he looks like a mini Marshawn Lynch when I look at the guy. He's got that same face. He looks like such a hard dude. I would be freaking out if I was on the line on the other side lining up against him, because he's so slippery. He's got that really lean but tough build, that wiry build. And they're saying in practice, he's doing really well. He's very elusive, very slippery, like I mentioned. A little rusty on the catching of the passes in the backfield. But, dude, we got Andre Ellington, David Johnson. We got so many options for that.
He's going to be taking touches away from those guys, though. That's the thing to remember, is that every time Chris Johnson's on the ball, it's because Ellington or DJ or whomever is not on the ball.
I'm not too worried about that because, first of all, David Johnson's a rookie, so it's not we don't even know what that guy can do yet.
Right.
He's also been injured for much of the preseason, so it's not we still really don't know what he can do. So I'm not too worried about Johnson taking away quality time from the rest of the guys. It's just depth.
I agree. I agree with that, but it's like honestly, that first game, it does not look like Ellington has lost a step, other than the fact that he got caught up at like the 3-yard line. But other than that,
I don't know, man.
I think if Ellington was in complete 100% football shape, I think he takes that pass to the house, and Carson Palmer finishes the day with a TD, a passing TD, instead of Ellington getting caught up and having to punch it in on a couple plays later.
As much as Johnson and Ellington have kind of a similar play style, I honestly don't see them necessarily feeling the exact same role. I think that he was signed to be more of a between the tackles type of runner, even though that's not necessarily his like primary skill set. I know that's what Bruce is looking for, and I think that the organization in general is looking for, and I think that he's meant to more replace or at least back up David Johnson or Marion Grice or Kerwin Williams, are the guys that we're going to try to put between the tackles.
One of those guys.
Or Stephon.
Dude, I'll tell you.
Stacked there, man.
I know, and we still have that Hughes guy too, who was. I mean, he did a couple of cool things.
Yeah.
He
he's still our fullback. He's like the true fullback that we have.
I'll tell you who's not great between the tackles is Andre Ellington. Every now and then you'll see him slip one of the gaps and come busting out the other side, but Ellington's big runs are always around the edge. He always goes around the pile.
To that end, though, I mean, he hasn't been running behind Upati and Jonathan Cooper.
That's a fair point. That's a fair point. He hasn't had the O-line that setting him up like that. Let's shift gears and let's move on to some general NFL talk. This was the thing. This is something that occurred to me that I think would be really cool this season and in the coming seasons. 1998. Quarterbacks drafted picks 1 and 2, Peyton Manning and Ryan Leaf. There's a very clear winner of that one. It's Peyton Manning. Ryan Leaf went on to be trash and a complete loser, and he's a nobody. And then you have a few years ago, you had quarterbacks drafted number 1 and number 2. Of course, Andrew Luck and RG3. I kind of feel like Andrew Luck is the clear winner there, although I'm sure that some crazy person in Washington would probably tell you the jury is still out on RG3. I don't agree with that assessment. But we had it again, this last one. We had Winston, number 1, and Mariota, number 2, of course. And I think it would be cool if they were both good. It'd be the first time that happened where they both end up being successful, workable quarterbacks. I mean, I know that... Sure. Mariota didn't look great, but
sparing us the research, anybody listening to this, do you know of an example of like a 1 and 2 overall QB selection where they both ended up being decent at least?
Nothing comes to my mind, but I'm not exactly a foremost authority on the history of the NFL draft.
It seems like the history of the NFL sort of dictates that if that does happen, number 1 will be like a generationally amazing quarterback, and number 2 will be like an epically meme shit quarterback.
Yeah. Which is weird.
Leaf, status.
Yeah, and Ryan Leaf wasn't. I mean, I don't even know anything about his play, but I know that he turned into a complete loser and got caught up in hard drugs and stuff like that.
I mean, to the degree that he busted, it's just incomparable to pretty much any other player, except for maybe in Aaron Hernandez or something. But Aaron Hernandez wasn't a number 1 overall selection.
And Aaron Hernandez was,
or number 2 at least. For
Aaron Hernandez was very good on the field. I don't know how good Ryan Leaf was. I don't really pay attention to the man.
Well, he didn't come out and start lighting shit up, and then suddenly you find out he's been juicing or something. I mean, he just bombed and then started burglarizing homes for pills on multiple occasions. Dude, he got bailed out of jail for burglary, then committed burglary again to go get pills and got arrested again. I mean, talk about a bust.
Yeah, that's worse than Jamarcus.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, seriously.
Okay. Next topic I want to talk about. I wanted to remember last week I wanted to do a non-NFL segment, and I ended up totally forgetting about it and just talking about football the whole time. This time we're going to talk about non-NFL and how appropriate that we should go from the most intense, crazy sport like football to this reserved, quiet, calm sport like golf. I want to talk about professional golf. The PGA Championship was won by Jason Day, who finished the deal with 20 under.
Deserved it.
Beating out Tiger Woods' record from 2000. Tiger Woods was the previous holder of the best score in a major, which was at 19 under in 2000. And Jason Day currently holds that record now. After that, it was Jordan Spieth came in second.
It's incredible.
But here's
it's incredible.
I agree. Here's the thing. Here's the thing I noticed about the coverage of the PGA Championship. Nobody felt like we were missing anything with Tiger being gone.
Yeah, isn't that wonderful? It's like golf, like, is sort of having a bit of like a resurgence. You know, people are already pretty excited because of Rory, because he's like younger, you know, and like he's a decent looking, he's pretty marketable. But then with like this rivalry happening now, these like two young guys, and there's just like years and years and years and years of golf ahead of them. It's pretty exciting for people.
It is. You know, the first few majors that Tiger missed, I feel like the Tiger's career obviously started that tremendous decline after the incident with his wife and the golf club and all, and the breaking the window and all that jazz.
That's a pretty out there theory, by the way.
Well, I understand. Shut up. But I immediately after that, he took a break from golf and said he had to get back in touch with his spirituality and all this. And it felt like there was a big Tiger Woods shaped hole in professional golf because there was nothing interesting going on in the sport. Well, nothing cool was happening. It was just regular run of the mill golf. And this is probably the first time in a long time that I don't feel like there was anything missing from the experience with Tiger not being there. I feel like golf is finally ready to move on.
Right, it's like the first time since Tiger that we're not asking where Tiger's at.
Right, and I don't see Tiger having a resurgence. I know that a lot of golf fans would like to see that. Would like to see him give it one last hurrah. But I think
to be honest, if this was like a golf generation prior to the one we're in right now, I think that would be possible. But as a lot of athletes point out, sorry, I'm like drinking soda at the same time as I like burp talk. As a lot of like athletes have pointed out, like the way that modern athletics work, it's so like, not to say Tiger couldn't still benefit from this, but like the technology, the work, even the people. I mean, look at just like the physical characteristics, like the average running back or wide receiver of the draft, like every year over year, you know, and just like they're just like evolving before your eyes. So all I'm going out with this is like, it's more expected now for like a young player to just be like phenomenal and dynamic, where, you know, Tiger was that exception kind of to begin with. I don't see that as being so exceptional. I see that as being kind of more how you'd almost expect it to happen at this point. I'm just saying I think he has a lot of competition nowadays in order to really regain that. And I don't think he's going to. So
okay, so that is absolutely enough golf for 1 week. Let's no more.
The season is over, so
yeah, sure, that's enough golf for the year. Let's move on to week 2 of preseason. We're going to be taking on the San Diego Chargers. According to what I've heard, the starters are going to play the entire first quarter for the Cardinals. The second teamers will play the second quarter, and then everybody else will play the second half of the game. Thomas will play the third quarter, and Sims will be throwing in the fourth. What would you like to see coming up in this game coming up on the next game here against San Diego?
Ooh, so that's a surprise question. Let me just kind of rattle some stuff off then. I guess what I'm pretty comfortable with the first teams now, but, you know, I'm going to want to see that again in a whole quarter. You know, you get one drive put together. If you just took that Lions and Cardinals game from last season and just showed me the first 2 drives, I'd be like, Tristan's amazing. Yeah. You know, you keep him out there for 15 minutes of game time and, like, you know, things average out. So I'm really curious. Like, Carson Palmer's not going to go for a perfect, like, completion percentage every single game. So I'm kind of curious to see how the offense works through and, like, importantly, when the defense of the opposing team gets an opportunity to begin making adjustments to our offense, how we then, you know, respond to that. So, like, again, one drive with really, like, high talented skill players, you're going to look good, but you give the defense a chance to start moving around to that, and that's when you can kind of see, like, how deep we really are. So I want to see that. And of course, the second and third teams, we got to start seeing some guys come up. I mean, Justin Bethel looked like he was pressing pretty well. He was staying on Jeremy Maclin like foot for foot when he was out in the field. So maybe he'll do what we're all hoping he'll do and kind of grow into that corner position. But we still want to see some things on like some of the linebackers and even on the defensive line a little bit. So some of those newer guys coming in, like making a name for themselves. So kind of the same thing. It's just I'm interested in getting to see the first team out there a little longer.
I wanna see. Okay, Ellington had a great reception, had a great catch and run, and it was great. The perfect pass, perfect catch, perfect yards after the catch. I wanna see the running game do something. I mean,
exactly.
we'll have Chris Johnson out there too. So I wanna see the running game do something cool. Just get a breakaway or two, maybe even 6. I don't know, but do something other than those little freaking run into the pile for a 1.5 runs that we always seem to do when it's 3rd and 9. I don't get those at all. But
it's really funny when you asked me that question. I failed to even bring up. I want to see Chris Johnson.
Well, I don't. That's why I went second. Anyways, I don't have anything else to say about this the upcoming week, but I am I'm excited about next week's game, and it's because of
it's a 3rd week preseason.
So who the hell takes a 3rd game in a preseason like it's bullshit? Bullshit.
That's right. That's right.
If you're thinking about it, you're like, I think that's it. Hold on.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, that's gonna do it for.
Wait,
what? Do you have more to say?
NFC West preview, top 5 quarterbacks. You brought up golf, but not these things.
Oh, we brought up golf, but not these things. Okay, you're right. We got no. We got time. We got time. Let's get. You go first. I'm gonna copy your list. Top 5. This is a recurring segment, by the way. Lutz, tell them.
Wait, it's a recurring segment, by the way. What else?
We're gonna do. Thank you. We're gonna do a segment every week where we pick a thing to do a top 5. And this week we're gonna do the top 5 quarterbacks that we believe will have a good season this year. Not like top 5 quarterbacks ever or top 5 quarterbacks in the league right now, but
well, at the end of 2015, who do we think maybe based on like QBR or some kind of like tangible metric would be considered in the top 5? And so I didn't actually compile this beforehand. I didn't look at any stats.
Off the top of your head.
Why would I take the time to come up with a good list? So anyway, here's my shit list. Number 1.
Start with number 5. Number 5.
Spoiler alert! Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the NFL still. Okay. Shit, dude. Now I have to think about it backwards because it's easy to think best from worst because it's like you start with Aaron Rodgers, then you figure out who you can put behind him. But coming the other way, dude, that's weird. Let me just go down the way that I need to go.
Okay.
Aaron Rodgers, number 1. If you say otherwise, please unsubscribe. Number 2, shit, bro. Like, I don't want to fucking say it. Like, I have to go with Andrew Luck just because he's got Andre.
Agree.
Yeah, they picked up some pieces. All right, number 3. It's so hard, dude. I don't want to say some stupid shithead like Derek Carr, but
no,
I think
you don't want to say Derek Carr.
To our show,
you want to say no. Number 3 is Carson Palmer.
Okay, that's
number
fair,
3 is Carson Palmer.
He gets the hometown discount. Okay,
Carson Palmer's number 3. He gets
right,
the homer discount.
But that might be legitimate. Everything clicks on offense. Who knows, dude?
I actually absolutely would put Carson Palmer. Number 4, I'm gonna say Ben Roethlisberger. I'm gonna put Ben. I hate saying it because I don't like that guy. And I don't like the Steelers, but number 3, I think Ben Roethlisberger is gonna be on
number 4.
List. Who?
Number 4 is Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah,
3
so
is
who's
Palmer.
number 5 then?
Well, it's not Drew Brees. It's not Phillip Rivers. No. It's not Tom Brady.
No.
Fuck, dude. Who's that leave us with, man?
I don't know. Foles, Bradford. Any of these?
That's actually a good point, dude. Sam Bradford.
Yeah,
no, but that's just so stupid. That's like 1,000 to 1. Let's not do that.
Okay, no, you're right. Okay, let's just run through all 32 starting quarterbacks until we settle on one. Russell Wilson, Colin Kaepernick, no. Teddy Bridgewater, Jay Cutler.
Teddy Bridgewater came to mind, but it's like there's just too much to be seen.
I would say he's gonna have a good year, but I wouldn't put him in top 5.
Top 5, I know that's so rough, man. Fudge, dude. Johnny Manziel, that's my number 5. All right, go. He's gonna have 18 rushing touchdowns in the first game. It's gonna be incredible.
Other than the fact that we're gonna smoke them during the regular season, what do you want to say about the NFC West? I know we're gonna smoke them. I've actually already seen these games. They're rerun games. I've seen them.
Right. There's gonna be some smoking. Okay, here's one thing I want to point out. The Niners could have looked worse in preseason. I would have felt a lot better if they looked a lot worse than they did in preseason. The fact that a lot of the starters make plays, except for Colin Kaepernick, still my ace in the hole in San Francisco. I rely on him to win us games. But besides him, The defense looked good, dude, and it really bothered me how many like second and third teamers they had making plays. So as much as the exodus from San Francisco like looked like they should suck ass, they were only 8-8, and so who knows, a big turnover of like your team, dude, in rebuilding. I don't fucking know, bro. I was so much more confident before that preseason game that the Niners were going to be just irrelevant. But between them and the Rams now, I'm again just back at like, I don't know. The Rams they do not deserve me to place them over San Francisco if San Francisco looks like they're going to play any type of football. So I'm fucking stuck. But that doesn't really compare how the Cardinals are going to roll over both of those teams.
Do you want to know? Do you want to know what I thought was cool? I heard. I don't remember where it was. I can't necessarily attest to it, give credit or anything or verify that this was said. But I heard that Coach Jim Tomsula, head coach of the Niners, said that he was very impressed with Blaine Gabbert at quarterback.
Yeah, people were saying this. This Twitter was blowing up about Blaine Gabbert, dude. I was watching this game. It's like, I mean, we all knew this was going to happen, right? Because Jim Harbaugh wanted Colin Kaepernick, then they paid him all this money, then he, is Colin Kaepernick still. And so now they're like, what the fuck do we do? And yeah, I can't imagine them not being excited that another quarterback is like, look, guys, remember, quarterbacks can throw footballs.
But I had a lot of high hopes for Gabbert when he was coming out of college. I was in a long shot way hoping that he would wind up with Arizona. Now I'm glad he didn't because of how. Didn't he
go to? I don't want to say.
He went to Jacksonville. He went to Jacksonville and he was awful.
Did, dude. I remembered.
He went to Jacksonville and he was awful.
God damn! I almost looked like the biggest idiot. Oh, okay, thank God.
Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I think we win the NFC West. The Seahawks, I think, are a bit of a contender. But, dude, I don't know, man. I don't know. It's like, what did they do? The last couple pieces, and they picked up Jimmy Graham. I don't care, dude. Let Russell Wilson try to be a fucking pocket passer. Let him.
You know what? I heard a comparison of Russell Wilson to Cam Newton, and I'll tell you what. The biggest difference.
That's so mean, dude. First of all, mean to Cam.
The biggest difference is in my opinion, Cam is a better passer. Second of all, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. Cam does not shy away from the hit when you know what I mean. Like when Cam's running the ball,
he's like, "Hey, I'm a linebacker too, bro."
Anyways, that is going to do it for this episode. I promise this time. Thank you guys for checking us out. Be sure to join us next week when we take a look at the third game in preseason, because who the hell takes a third game in preseason like it's bullshit?
Bullshit.
Bye.